This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
When we think about agentic AI, sometimes I think people think of sitting behind the computer screen and, maybe helping you get that quarterly KPI report out quicker. When we talk about physical AI, maybe we just think about humanoids in a warehouse. But both of those things are actually so much more than that. And especially when we talk about, I think, highly specialized and very important sectors like healthcare and medicine and Medtech. I think that generative AI, is maybe always not talked about as much as it should in those fields because it impacts all of us, right? Not everyone here is in marketing. Not everyone here deals with legal, but, we all benefit from what generative AI can do in the medtech space. So that's why I'm extremely excited for today's conversation and back at NVIDIA GTC to talk about agentic AI and physical AI in medtech and how NVIDIA is changing that space. All right, I'm excited for today's conversation. I hope you are too. What's going on, y'all? My name's Jordan Wilson. I'm the host of Everyday AI, and this is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter, helping us all not just keep up with AI, but how we can use all of the latest news and advancements to get ahead to grow our company and career. If that's you, you're in the right place. So make sure you do go to our website at youreverydayai.com, because if you missed some of the great insights from today's episode, we're going to be recapping it all in the newsletter. So make sure you check that out. All right. So like I said, if you're listening on the podcast, you don't see this. If you're on the live stream, you see we're here at GTC and there's been a ton going on. So I'm excited for today's conversation. So please help me welcome to the show, Prerna Dogra, the Director of Product Management for Healthcare AI at NVIDIA. Prerna, thank you so much for joining the Everyday AI Show.
Thank you, Jordan, for having me.
All right. I'm excited for today's conversation, but before we get started, tell everyone a little bit what you do in your role at NVIDIA.
Sure. So at NVIDIA, I head up our management and developer ecosystems team. And essentially, our mission is to translate the amazing technology stack that we've built with our computing appliance and our accelerated computing, artificial intelligence, into the most impactful industries, the healthcare industry. So we are really solving for what are the domain-specific problems, right? Healthcare is very domain-specific. So as an example, in computer vision, things like cats and dogs videos translate to these MRI and CT one-metric images. So how do we turn that domain problem into a computer science problem and really bring accelerated computing to that? Similarly, when we're thinking about agents and the big bang of LLMs, conversational AI. How do these AI models about the medical jargon, the medical data? Right? So we sit at that translation layer of NVIDIA's amazing technology stack for the industry of healthcare and life sciences, and my focus is specifically in Medtech. And for that, we may create new software capabilities because we found something very unique to solve, or sometimes we adapt our existing stack and really build very intentional go-to-markets with our partners and our customers, but essentially bringing GPU community to.
Yeah, and it's extremely exciting, but maybe how explain to our audience a little bit, how does this ultimately play out in their lives, right? Because no one goes to the doctor and sees, an NVIDIA logo on there, right? But I'm guessing, that many of the major, names in health are using, something along the line, whether it's, GPUs from NVIDIA or your software, in the health space. But, tell us a little bit, who are those, partners and customers that are, using the MedTech kind of offerings from or through NVIDIA?
Absolutely. So our journey in Medtech really started 12, 13 years ago. And the first application that we identified for accelerated computing was this thing called image reconstruction. But what that essentially is, that when you go to get your MRI or your CT scan, it's actually a GPU that can take all of that sensor information and convert it into an image. And so in diagnostics, generally, if you talk to these clinicians, they'll say what you can see, you can hear, right? And all these breakthroughs, like with PET scanning and so on, like how with low dosage can you get these really high quality, high fidelity imaging? So that is one area where it's almost like NVIDIA inside all of these devices. Robotic surgery, right? It became so real. It really came home for me. I always thought of this, right? Like not all of us are healthcare industries, but we're all consumers of healthcare. And my father 2 years ago had to go through a prostate surgery, and that was the Da Vinci system powered by NVIDIA, and it's a minimally invasive surgery. So really, again, right, bringing this ability of keeping care at center and solving with technology what couldn't have been possible in the past.
Super touching story. Yeah. Like the work that you and your colleagues are doing, being able to see it help, firsthand, in your father's, surgery. That's really, really cool story. So, one thing I do want to talk about is, before we get into, the announcements and what's new and what's changing, can you maybe just bring our audience to like, where are we at today? Because as an example, I didn't know that, image reconstruction was essentially just powered by GPUs, right? So like, where are we at if you had to give a, the state of the state address for, AI in Medtech? Like, where are we? Are most, large healthcare organizations, using, Gen AI and AI and GPUs, around their entire structure? Or is it still like, some companies and some larger organizations are still, kind of quote unquote old school and still figuring out this new Gen AI wave?
Yeah. So what I would say is because healthcare is so fragmented, right? Unlike any other industry, it's not like we have like one big player and if they take Gen AI, it just becomes ubiquitous. Right? But I would say that Gen AI and the promise is really coming to life. The journey really started with a lot of the perception AI pieces, which have been there for like 7, 8 years now, and you can see the growing number of FDA algorithms that are approved with deep learning. But this power of Gen AI and Agentic is now really coming through. So, as an example of Epic, I don't know if everybody knows about it, but if you use your My Chart, and it is the #1 EMR system, it is getting powered by all sorts of these co-pilots and really streamline the patient experience. We also announced the integration of NVIDIA's technology stack and our models into Epic on their AI Foundry. But like that is one direction where, right, like once someone like Epic integrates Gen AI, it's going to touch everyone's life. And it's as simple as when I open my chart app. Today I look at the summary and it's a bunch of jargon I'm not following. Can I have a patient summary that's in English that I can write? In the future, can I make a call and not be on a waiting line? And even if talk with a digital agent, like, so these capabilities of sort of really bringing that access to care, we're totally seeing that come through. Epic is a great example. A Bridge is, again, a wonderful example, right? Like when they have state-of-the-art technology for their automatic speech recognition and text-to-speech and this really ambient intelligence system where they are bringing back that conversation between the doctor and the patient, right? Like the last so many years, like it's been, you're talking to the patient and the doctor is constantly at the screen, typing, administrative work. The nurses are putting in the codes. So that's a great example, and a Bridge is installed and is having a great success rate.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too. just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on GenAI.
So when it comes to agentic AI in Medtech, could you let us know, like, where are we at now, and maybe talk us through, some of the, the benefits or use cases that you're already seeing, because it seems like, last year, here at GDC, it's like agentic was more of a whisper, right? But now it's everywhere. So like, where are we at, and what are some of those use cases already in the Medtech space?
You hit it on the head, Jordan. Like last year, it was so like Gen AI, and like Medtech was like, oh, we don't have our foundation models yet, and so on and so forth. And that is actually the proof point of what a foundation model means, right? Because all these companies, and to take these models and adapt them to our context and really give AI now agency. So that means not just that the AI model has the knowledge, but it now has the context awareness, and with now like this ability to reason through a problem, right? So if I'm a patient, I'd have to call him to the hospital and figure out, hey, what's my care plan? Or how do I get? Where's the party? Or what's my insurance code, and so on. You can have this agentic AI system that is then calling and knows, like, I need to call a specialty model from the insurance place. I need to call the specialty model from a nutrition space. I need to pull this out from the EMR, and so on. Right? So what agentic AI has done is taken all this amazing technology of AI that's being research papers and a model here and a model there, but really brought it together to deliver something of value. And so where it is right now, I would say is where we are certainly seeing, like I said, examples of Bridge, another great one, for AI, right? Where we're seeing these companies that have set on this journey really taking off exponentially, because those systems are performing incredibly well in the real world. But even more importantly, it opens up the avenue for so many more to now come. Because traditionally, Medtech has been like a very regulated industry, as it should be. But the bar to bring real world impact from all this technology has been very high. And we just see that this Gen AI, Agentic AI, and now with this ability of reasoning and chain of thought, which allows to bring more transparency into these systems, the perfect time to really bring value into healthcare.
So the benefits, I think are fairly obvious, right? Better healthcare, faster, communication, hopefully improved outcomes, right? But I think, a lot of the early talk on agentic AI was just based around more of like, okay, here's things that I myself would be doing on my computer, right? Researching this, updating this document, sending it over to an internal or external stakeholder. Can we talk, with the benefit or when the potential benefit so high with agentic AI in medtech, what about the potential risks, right? Because I know people are always worried about, agentic AI, and then when you get in the medtech space. So can you talk a little bit about kind of the work that you and your team, or maybe your partners, are doing, to ensure kind of that agency doesn't go off the rails, so to speak?
Yeah, no, that is an excellent point. And also to the fact, like I said, like, this is a regulated industry, as it should be. So a lot of what we see with our partners, like even with these systems and these agents, you are essentially with an expert in them, right? So the value actually is in the operational efficiency of these systems that they can bring. As an example, like it helps contextualize, like Hippocratic AI has built these digital agents that can make a call post-operative to a patient and find out how you're doing after your surgery, and have you been taking your medications well. The patient can ask what kind of dietary plans I should be in. Okay. One, these are areas that don't happen today, right? So these digital agents and systems can bring care, where it's not available at all. But then also because they are working, these, like in case of Hippocratic AI, they have like a whole body of nurses across different systems, really trying out these digital agents and things like that. That works, does that not work? And really giving that time back to the clinicians and the nurses. So in all of these cases, with the bridge, with Hippocratic AI, the whole suite of these startups, artifact coming in, they're all very much with that human expert in the loop that's really trying to say, like, are these agencies well guardrailed and so on. From a technology standpoint, NVIDIA does that, right? We have in our own stack, we make sure we have the right software that can allow developers to build very safe systems with things like guardrails and so on.
So there's been a lot of talk, so far here at GTC about kind of this three computer system, right? Can you explain that, maybe to our audience that didn't get a chance to listen to Jensen's keynote, which you should all go do, by the way. But can you explain what that is and how it's going to be impacting the work that you all do?
Yes, this is truly an inflection point. And me, I've been an engineer and technologist at heart. So you can really see this convergence of three very key computers, right? The first one is your AI computer. This is where you are training and creating these world-class AI models. The second computer that's really come to life is now the simulation computer, right? And if you think about the simulation computer was actually one huge missing piece. So the AI computer had its breakthrough when we cracked this notion of like unsupervised learning. I don't need data that's constantly labeled. The simulation computer now almost is the AI playground. All this intelligence that I created, right? If you think about it in the field of robotics, there is no chance that you can have humanoids and all these robots. And imagine in our industry, like surgical robots, the cost of doing testing and all of that in the real world is so high.
Right.
So now you almost have this playground. I can be generating synthetic cases. I can be generating synthetic worlds that are mimicking the real world scenario. Right. That is the second computer of simulation. You take something that you train, you put that into simulation, where it goes into post-training and it's getting really refined. So a model that was trained for task S or foundation model is brought in and now put into simulation to get really contextualized in the new task, which is similar, but in a different domain, right? And the best part of the simulation is it's not running on wall clock time, right? So your AI can practice till it really masters the skill. And the third computer, as we like to call it, is the brain of the robot. That is really the real-time computer. So we have invested heavily into this platform called the NVIDIA Holoscan, which is all about this real-time processing. And so these three computers, the AI computer to train models, the simulation computer as the playground for this AI to work, and there are systems actually, because it's not just one AI model, it's a combination of AI models and agentic AI frameworks to really bring this sort of intelligence that's just not knowledge, can perceive and act in meaningful ways in the physical world into that simulation computer. And when you think it's acquired a scale, I think this robot knows how to do a suturing just perfectly. We could take that and bring it into a real, what we call cell-to-real transfer of a prototype. And the fact that you can go through all these three loops in constant digital prototyping mode is what that really means for every industry, and then for healthcare specifically in Medtech.
Yeah, I think that was a crucial explanation, because I'm sure there's people out there that, when they hear agentic AI and then they hear, humanoids, performing surgeries, it's probably helpful to understand that, this is a very well thought out, I'm sure there's trillions of data points that go into this and so many countless simulations. So thank you for, taking us behind the curtains on that one a little bit. But, so one question as we wrap up here, because we've talked about a lot in this conversation so far, but out of everything that was announced here at GTC. What would you say that, at least, under the umbrella of today's episode of Agentic AI and Physical AI in Medtech, what's maybe the one advancement that you and your team maybe are most excited about? And then what will, that recent announcement here mean for your space in the future? Kind of like, hey, are you able to tackle the new problem? Are you able to offer, a new type of, service for different type of healthcare organizations? What's that one thing that you're most excited about?
Yeah.
I know it's hard. It's so lot of things. Yeah, it's like a 2-hour keynote. How can you pick one thing?
I want to pick something that wasn't in the keynote,
Okay.
right? But it was in Kimberly Powell's special address. She's the VP and GM for our healthcare business unit. And we launched what we call Isaac for healthcare, right? So it is this domain specialization of the 3 computers I just walked through. And personally, I am most excited and passionate about this space because the reality is we are millions of people short of healthcare staff. The reality is we have aging parents. We will all one day be consumers of healthcare. And so it's not just about innovation. In healthcare, it is a necessity to really bring physical AI to help in ways it was not possible. And I was walking the show floor. There's this company called Wondercraft who builds like these exoskeletons for people who are paralyzed, and to see that young woman walk, stand up from her wheelchair and be able to walk. That is life changing as it can get. There's this company called Synchron. They design these brain computer interface implants, and they have this whole way of potentially patients with ALS. Like, how do you take that signal, turn it into intent, and allow someone who is not able to interact with the world because of the impairments of there's so many things, give them the agency to be able to do so, to be able to text your wife, I love you, to be able to turn on the fan, to be able to tell your caregiver, I can't breathe. So this is going to be a long journey. We are aware of that. But we are here because this is an incredibly hard problem to solve. And we are committed with our entire ecosystem to take this forward. So like I said, it is a necessity. And so that is where my mind, my heart, and my entire team's focus is going to be to really see how to bring these 3 computers to life as we take on the bigger challenge of robotics and AI.
Love to hear it. It just extremely, exciting and inspiring to see what's next, because, I think, sometimes people think, when, GPUs and this, that grabs the headlines, but what that opens up in terms of capabilities and possibilities just for us as humans, for our health, I think is extremely inspiring. So, Prerna, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join the Everyday AI Show. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Jordan.
All right. And there was a lot in there. So, if you missed something, or if you want to know more about something that Prerna said, it's going to be in our newsletter. So make sure you go check that out. So if you haven't already, go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. We're going to be recapping this as well as everything else you need to stay up to date, get ahead with GenAI. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.